Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. There's a two-second time delay on the voice here, so that's disruptive. Okay, Welling Clark, first chair. The chair cannot be here. He is at a meeting over by Callahan with the state. Has to do with the county fair. Sends us regrets. We all called him, "You lucky dog, you get out of this." No, I just want to say welcome. I'm currently first chair, and what we will do is, you see before you, we have our agenda, call to order, approval, all that, and some action items. So it should be a light meeting today, but we have some new faces here. And I would like to hold an introduction both for our new CAC members, and we also have some new staff here. Okay. And I want to tell them congratulations and I'm sorry. No, I'm just joking. It's really a fun group. And I just want to say this. Generally, we agree we're here to represent citizens. Do we agree all the time? No. Now, how many people here are married? Do you agree with your spouse all the time, but you're still married? Okay, I'll leave it at that. At this point in time, I'll go around and I called to order. Do we have a quorum established there, Jared? Okay, I have 3 people online. I have Summer Earthsong, John DeVoit, and John, I understand you will be non-voting for Woodland Park, but once you're reappointed in the next 2 weeks by the board, you will then be a voting member. And I have Chris Crockett representing Kono also online at this time. Are there any other people online?
Mr. Chair, since I gave you that little piece of paper, Ann Esch has joined us online.
Okay, Ann. Okay, very good. Okay, and so I'll start off with, I said it was going to be introduction, so I'll stumble over it first. My name is Welling Clark. This is my second tour on board the CAC. I was on it back in the mid 20-teens. And a little bit about me, I'm a neighborhood advocate. I was president of the organization Westside Neighbors for 12 years in the past, no longer on that board, and have done quite a few things with regard to public safety. And I'm a very strong citizen advocate, and that's myself, and I'll pass it on. Oh, there's a little button here when you see the voice on your thing right here. It says like a mouth. When it's red, it works.
Kathy Heisey, I represent Callahan on this committee. My background is office administration, management, bookkeeping, accounting, things along that line. Done a lot of volunteer stuff over the years, not so much working full time, but I've been on this committee for, I guess, since January.
And I'm Maddie Gullickson, and I am brand new. I'm a Colorado Springs native, but moved away when I was a kid, moved back, and have been involved in a lot of just volunteer efforts in the community, a lot of different issues, and have been on the other side of that podium quite a bit in local government and done a lot of stakeholder work through that. So really excited to be a part of this process.
Hello, everyone. I'm Callie Standard. I am brand new as well. I grew up in Monument and have been back in Colorado Springs for the past 6 years. I have a 6-year-old son, and so I've been pretty confined and busy with him in my work that I haven't been able to do as much as I want in the community. And now he's finally in a good place where I feel like I have capacity for that. So I'm really excited to be a part of this group. I worked in human resources basically most of my career. So nice meeting you all.
Roy Rosenthal, Manitou Springs. Coming to the end of my 6 years on the committee, retired psychiatrist, and I love the community that we live in.
Bill Bowles, Park County, representing the park and trying to get people to see us up there. When we cross that divide, it's different. So
I'm Miley Foster. I'm representing El Paso County. This is my second tour of duty here. I've just looked, I guess May of 2025. I'll be termed out, but I've really enjoyed my participation. I have my own investment management and financial planning firm. But one of the ways I really like to spend my time is giving back to the community. And I've really enjoyed my time on this committee. And one of the things I particularly enjoy is an area that a lot of the community is unaware of all the planning that goes on years and years in advance for what they see happening in our area. And without really understanding how much planning goes into it so far in advance. And then we're able to help spread the word. And I think it can be very impactful. So welcome.
I'm Gary Sugared. I'm a citizen at large. I first came to Colorado Springs in 1971 when I went to the Air Force Academy. I did 30 years in the Air Force. I did 14 years as a Department of the Army civilian. I'm now retired. And so this is an interesting committee to be on, particularly because of all the highway construction and the things that are going on in that realm.
I'm Judith Rice Jones. I'm here representing the League of Women Voters of the Pikes Peak region. I came to Colorado Springs originally in the last century also as a student at Colorado College. And more recently, I was for 30 years at UCCS as a faculty member in the library, Department of Geography and Health Sciences. Particularly interested in transportation and water because I went to grad school first at UCLA. And just in case you all didn't know, 2/3 to 3/4 of the land use in Los Angeles is devoted to the car. It's a nightmare. I don't want to see that happen here. I'm also going to leave really early. I'm surprised that all of you are here because there's a big symposium on protecting our water that's out at the Broadmoor, and I'm going to be leaving early to go to that. So I will bring back anything significant that I might learn. Thank you.
Sure. Danelle Miller. I am a transportation planner here at PPACG. Just under 2 years here at PPACG. I also serve as the liaison to the CAC and happy to answer any questions. If you have any issues, just reach out. We have a couple of new staff members today I'd like to introduce. So we've talked a little bit about how we were getting some VISTA volunteers through AmeriCorps. And these are two of our new folks. This is Ryan and Sylvia. And Ryan will be working with us in the transportation group on our traffic safety, particularly the website, social media, media campaign kind of work. And Sylvia is going to be helping. We're working on potentially developing a regional futures forum with PPACG and with some of the other groups in the region. And Sylvia is going to be doing a lot of work related to that. So they'll be with us for the next year. We're very happy to have them.
I totally butchered those online. I apologize. Summer, why don't we start with you, then John, then Chris, and then Ann. Please introduce yourselves. Pardon?
Mr. Chair, just also want to mention Tanisa Sultana has also joined.
Oh,
so
excellent.
Add her at the end.
Okay.
But just want to make sure that we recognize that she had joined the meeting.
Thank you. Okay, Summer.
Hi, I'm Summer Ertzong. I'm here representing the City of Fountain. I'm a dispatcher and trainer with Fountain Transit. So transportation is more my focus, but I'm just here generally for the city.
Okay, John.
I'm John DeVoe. I was on this your group here for, I think, about a term and a half. I was 8 years or 9 years on City Council in Woodland Park. I was chairman of the Planning Commission for about a half a dozen years, and I kept noticing nobody was going to the meetings. You kept sending me the packets, and I was glad to keep current with that. So I went back to council and said, can I go back to that since nobody's coming from Woodland Park for the CAC? And got approved on that last month. So good to be back. Good to be back with everybody.
Very good. Chris?
Hi, my name is Chris Crockett. I represent Kono. I've been on the CAC for maybe about a year, and I've enjoyed it very much, bringing greetings from Kono to you all and all your communities you represent, as well as the reverse, bringing our work to Kono and their work with the neighborhood university and neighborhood networks. Thank you.
Ann?
Hi, I'm Ann Esch. I've represented Green Mountain Falls for about 5 years, and I'm glad that John is back because we're neighbors and we've known each other through the years a little bit. I'm very interested in the mountain communities, transportation, safety very much. I kind of grew up around here and came back after my husband retired. And also, I just wanted to mention, Judith, my husband and I went to Colorado College. So thank you. And I enjoy this work very, very much. And I'm concerned about safety very much, along with so many. Thank you.
Vanessa?
Someone else?
Jared, is tennis on board?
It appears so. I'm not seeing any indication of anything in the chat or anything like that.
Okay, tennis, we can't. Check your mic, tennis. If not, we'll proceed on. Okay, hearing nothing, I'm going to proceed on. And I am totally embarrassed because I forgot to mention who I represent, El Paso County, and background is systems engineering, math modeling, simulation, and modeling as well. My apologies. Okay, I want to go over some housekeeping because we have so many new people. First of all, I'd like to say that generally we have two types of agenda items that come before us. One is where we make a recommendation to approve or not approve, and purely our power is recommendations, and that goes to the board. Other items come in are information related. So in the past, we've been asked to table things, we've been asked to change things. We can't do that. What we do is we give the citizens' viewpoint to our elected officials. So I just want to let you know about that. And secondly, there's been times where people felt like, gee, do I have a conflict of interest? You know, when we make a motion and vote, there's yes vote to recommend approval, no vote to not recommend approval. And there's been abstentions because there may have been a conflict of interest, or if there were minutes and you weren't at the meeting, it's like, I don't know what was said, so I'm going to abstain from that. So I just want to let you know there's that freedom right there. And we all tend to agree most of the time. Some of the times we disagree, but we're all in it together as a cooperative team. And so I do want to say welcome aboard to everybody. Kathy, did I miss anything? Okay, thank you. She's my conscience right now. Yeah, if you feel like you have a conflict, it's okay. Now, we've had people before that worked for we had like for Colorado Springs Utilities and for CDOT and for other things. So if you feel uncomfortable, just feel free to abstain. If you have questions about a project or something, those are definitely welcome. But I want everybody to know that you have 3 options and definitely use which one you think is correct. Okay. Nobody's going to think any different of anything. And if there is a fire, there's the doorway. Okay, good. I've done that. Okay, moving on. Agenda approval. This is the agenda that was put out, and I'd entertain a motion to approve, and there would be a need to be a second. This agenda was put out 24 hours in advance, so we can add new topics to that. If people have topics, and in the past, new things have come up, I've worked with PPACG and got some guidance, and I'll bring that forward because we don't discuss everything, but we discuss what has been brought forward to us to evaluate for the board. So I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda as written.
I'll move approval of the agenda.
Take care, Judith. Okay, sorry. Second?
Miley Foster will second.
Okay, second. Discussion. This is where you get to talk yes, no, questions, and all of that. Hearing, yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah. Okay, hearing no questions, I'm going to close the comments remark, the questions remark, and say all in favor, say aye, and also raise your hand so people can see it. Okay, or no when I call that or whatever. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Is that a hand raise? Okay. Abstains? Unanimous approval. Consent items. Okay, these items are to be acted upon as a whole unless they are with the discussions. Approval of the minutes from the July meeting. Hopefully everyone has had a chance to read those minutes. And does anybody have additions, corrections, clarifications, or deletions they wish to apply to the minutes that were provided to us? I would expect our new folks to say abstain because I have no clue what you people talked about. Okay. Okay, so I went backwards when I asked about that, but I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
Kathy Heisey Callahan, I move approval of the minutes from the last meeting.
Second, do I have a second?
Gary Sugar, second.
Okay, discussion. Now we discuss good, bad, ugly. And I ad lib a lot. Okay, just to let you know. I don't want you all feeling intimidated if you're new at this, because it intimidated the heck out of me. I've only been here a year. Okay. Are there any corrections or additions we need to make to the minutes for those that attended last month? I would just state that there was one thing that came up that I don't necessarily see in here. It was comments were heard from 4 members. Okay, there's members from the public and everything. But it was, let's see, some CAC members also felt it would be beneficial. Well, that's to advance its timeline. That was it. Recommended that the city and county elected officials discuss the lack of public engagement requirements in the state approval process. That actually comment was made strongly by me, and I was requesting that the elected officials of the CAC, the city and county elected officials, discuss with the state of Colorado the lack of public engagement requirements, because they're essentially very vague. I don't think that it's already been addressed and adjudicated, and I've been called by a commissioner to talk about that, and they went before the state to discuss the vagueness of the public process. So normally I would recommend a change, but at this point I won't. I just wanted to clarify that for our new members, just to let you know about that. So that was my 2 cents. And at that point in time, if there's no other questions, comments, okay, I'll call. All in favor, approve the minutes as presented, say aye. Aye. Nays? Abstains? Excellent. Well done. See, we're not going to bite you. No, it's they actually capture it on video and all. Okay. Public comments and presentations. Do I have any people from the public that wish to say anything? Any comments?
Don't believe any comments were received by staff prior to the meeting.
Okay, very good. And also, just for everybody's information, we use a 3-minute rule, very similar to what the city of Colorado Springs uses for public comment. Individuals can come up, we hear every person, and we ask if there's a lot of people, make a statement, don't repeat what's been said, amplify it, but then move on to something new so we can get the full value and the full viewpoint of any issue.
Mr. Chair, if I can interject.
Yes.
So while we did not receive any requests for any advance requests for public comment, I will ask those who are online to please use the raise hand function if you'd like to make a public comment at this time.
Thank you, Jared.
And as I stall for time, I'm not seeing any hands coming up. I'm not seeing anyone else coming off on mute. So I think you're good to proceed.
Very good. And anybody, if you want to stop about something, feel free to stop. Just throw something soft, not sharp, not wet. Okay. Okay, and moving on from that point, I'm going to shift, since there is no public comment, we'll shift to action items. We have 2 items before us. Item A is a site application for CSU's Las Vegas Water Resource Facility. And B is a unified planning work program. And at this point in time, I would welcome the site application for CSU's Las Vegas Water Resource Recovery Facility Aeration Basin Upgrades. Okay, Ford, do we have someone who would like to present that topic?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. This is Brian Jesse with Black and Beach Engineering. We're the engineering consultant for Colorado Springs Utilities on this project. So I was going to provide a little bit of detail, about a 5-minute overview of the project, and then take any questions needed. So if it is okay, I would share my screen.
Yep. It's up.
All right, thank you for confirming. So we are currently in the final permitting phase, which is why we're presenting to the group. The Colorado Department of Health and Public Environment has asked us to get a permit, which requires notification of the other agencies. In this case, PPACG is one of them. So I've been working with Ann Werner to get this through. This is the step for the citizen comment. So I'm just going to give a brief overview of the project and kind of talk about it. And it's pretty simple, but we'll run through it. So for everyone that is not aware, the Las Vegas Street Water Resource Recovery Facility is this parcel right here, very close to downtown Colorado Springs. We've got I-25 here, bordered by East Las Vegas Street here. It's right near the Highway 24 interchange. Our project is specifically related to the aeration basins. So this is just a site map of the facility, and the aeration basins is this complex here in the top. And what they are doing is they're providing aeration for the wastewater during treatment. It's the biological step, mostly removing phosphorus, nitrogen, ammonia, the biological loads, and air is needed to do that. This project is something that Colorado Springs needs because their equipment inside this basin, actually have a photo. They're not huge photos, but this is what the basins look like drained. So usually the water level is right up here where my mouse is, up towards the top, but they're drained. What's down here on the floor are the diffusers. That's what provides the fine bubble aeration. I have a photo, maybe a better Google image of the ones right now. These are 9-inch discs. That's a style that's been in use for many years, and that's what they have currently. They're at the end of their useful life. They're degrading, they're breaking, so utilities would like to replace them. As part of this project, though, since that's a pretty big undertaking, they are actually requesting efficiency improvements, or we're designing in efficiency improvements. So we are actually switching to what they call tube diffusers, which is slightly different style, still does the same work. The air bubbles out of these into the water, just a different style. And part of that efficiency is to add zone controls. So if we look here, water is flowing really from this upper left corner down one pass into the next pass, as we call it, in the middle, and then around a wall to the third pass. So it's a serpentine pattern. They have some divider walls here. We're not changing those. They're not very highlighted, but we're adding zone control valves that'll allow this zone 4, 5A, 5B, 5C, 6A, and 6B to all be independently controlled. The goal for that is efficiency, where you're only required to provide enough air to provide treatment. And we have sensors out in the water that will allow feedback to go back to the airflow, and it can turn up and down the air to dial this in a little bit more exact. Currently, what they have is all of this 5 zone is actually controlled by a single feedback loop and a single valve. Same with all of this 6 zone. So they're using more air than they actually need. So by replacing the diffusers, they're kind of taking the opportunity to redo their control system. It actually does not impact, which is key for this group, so I'll say this, pause for importance, it does not impact their treatment capacity. They're actually not requesting an increase in treatment capacity or any change to the permit. It's really an equipment replacement in kind. That was actually our opinion. CDPHE didn't agree exactly, so out of an abundance of caution, they wanted public comment. But they do agree there is no increase in capacity. But because it is not a literal 1-for-1 swap with the 9-inch discs for new 9-inch discs and the zones for the exact same zones, they wanted to go out for comment. So that's really it. I have more. I take it back. We are also replacing one mixer up here in zone 4 with a new mixer. The old mixer is actually a little too strong and damages the diffusers. So putting a different style mixer up here. Pretty minor part, but that is really the scope of the project. Is part of this is, I'll kind of just show maybe some section views for anyone that has looked at engineering deliverables before. So this is the floor of the basin down here. So instead of a plan view looking down, we're now looking sideways, and this is the stainless steel piping modifications that are needed to add those control valves. So these are these different zones we're now breaking this off to. So that's being done, above the water line. The diffusers are all below the water line. I believe we have, that's probably most of it. So I don't want to get too technical unless someone has technical questions. So I'm going to go ahead and pause and see if anyone has any, and I'm happy to discuss as needed.
Thank you very much. At this point in time, when we go into discussion and questions, I would entertain a motion to approve the project as submitted, and then also a second, and then we go into discussion, questions, things of that nature. So do I have a motion to approve? Okay. Taylor, just for clarity, go ahead and cite your name. Okay, Lou, got it. Approved. Oh. No, turn your mic on. Yeah, it's an audio recording. Okay, is it red? There you go.
Bill Bowles, I approve.
Very good.
We approve.
Do I have a second?
Tony
Laura
Sultan,
Rosen.
second.
Very good. Thank you. She beat you. Okay, at this point in time, I open up for questions. Anybody present, just raise your hand. I'll call on you. Anybody online, raise your hand, and Jared will definitely let me know. So questions, comments at this time. Kathy Heisey.
Kathy Heisey, Callahan. I'm wondering if these improvements are what's needed to get the wastewater treatment facility there on Las Vegas Street off from administrative extension on their permit.
We did not do any specific permit compliance or regulatory review as part of this, so I am actually not the person that would be able to answer that. I am unsure. The goal of this though was not anything with regulatory though. It was simply a equipment replacement to upgrade those that are failing.
Brian, this is Ben Johnson with Black and Beach. I'm one of Brian's colleagues, a project manager.
Thanks, Ben. Didn't know you were on.
For Black and Beach. And I will say that the administrative extension of the permit is a function of the state's health department and their capacity to write new permits. So I know that the staff at utilities would love to have an updated permit, and I think they're on the health department's schedule to get a permit extension, but that is going to be dictated by the actions at the state, not anything we're doing for this project.
Thank you.
Other questions or comments?
Mr. Chair, just a heads up, we've got Chris Crockett with her hand raised.
Chris?
Hi, Chris Crockett with Kono. Would you speak briefly to the question of longevity or maintenance costs, ceramic diffuser versus the tubular diffuser, and useful life? Is it comparable to what we have used in the past? And is this a new technology for Colorado Springs Utilities, or do we have other lift stations with, or not lift stations, but wastewater treatment plants using this kind of diffuser?
I'll start, but knowing Ben is on, he can add further clarity if necessary. But no, this is currently a new style of diffuser for Colorado Springs. This will be the first installation. We completed a studies and alternative analysis, an SAA, as they term it, before we did the detailed design, and actually looked at net present value and life cycle cost of the different styles of membranes, and this was the one selected by Colorado Springs Utilities. They have comparable life cycle, so this is actually a 20-year life cycle project. I mean, they will have to do normal maintenance, cleaning. I mean, there's an occasional one that breaks, but that's no different than the current 9-inch discs that people are installing, like the newer 9-inch discs. I believe that touched on your question.
It does. Thank you. Are there concerns with Colorado Springs Utilities about, or are there thoughts in place already about people needing to be retrained to maintain this new kind, and what sort of additional costs might be involved in maintenance since it's a new thing?
So the tool diffusers themselves are a different style. I kind of showed the probably have them still up here. This tube, it's definitely a different style, but the technology for replacement is, let's say instead of unscrewing a cap, you loosen some hose clamps if you have to replace something. The main laterals are still the same type of pipe material that they have out there now. So if they have pipe breakage, it's the same work. And they currently do 4, so they have 5 aeration basins, and they currently run 4 out of 5 at any one time. So they usually have one down for maintenance. So there isn't they'll have to get used to it, but it's not a specialized maintenance, and there wouldn't be like a concern for rushing it because they've always got one down that they rotate them through for cleaning on a regular basis.
Thank you.
And
that's helpful.
I'll add that part of the contract that we've written, the manufacturer of the tube diffusers will provide training to the staff at Colorado Springs Utilities at the plant, and we'll also have an inventory of spare parts that will be warehoused by utilities for use when they need to make repairs. So the contract accounts for training and additional materials to continue the operation of the facility.
Chris, that answer your questions? Okay, yes. Don, I saw you had your hand up earlier and then removed. Did you want to ask a question or something?
Yeah, a couple of things. 2 actually. Is there a warranty with this stuff? I mean, a warranty for performance? It's gonna do just what the other one did, and how long this equipment is? You said it's a 20-year project. Surely it's not warranty for 20 years, but can you address that?
Yeah, so we write in in the technical specifications for the scope of supply, there is a testing component. So they have to, it'll be open bid to different manufacturers that make these. Each of them is, going to have a slight nuance or uniqueness, but we require a test to prove out, exactly what their spacing is. Again, well, I'm pointing to these because I like, nice, pretty colored pictures. But, you can see in this one that we've got a different spacing than, say, this one over here. So all that is based on the minimum required oxygen transfer that we specify. They will have to prove that because the oxygen transfer is what's getting the aeration to be effective for wastewater treatment. So they will test that in a test facility, and then it will be installed, and then we will prove that it works. And that's all on the hook of the manufacturer to prove it works. If it does not meet the minimum oxygen transfer, they have to modify the system as needed until it does. So we have that component. And I believe your other question was warranty. So they have to meet the performance, but then also the membranes are warranted for 5.
Is that 5 years?
Like Brian's microphone may have cut out there, but yeah, it's the overall project will have a 1-year warranty for everything that the contractor installs, and then the diffuser equipment itself is on a 5-year prorated warranty. So 1 year at full price, and then if there's a failure in the next 4 years, there'll be a prorated replacement. And then we expect this equipment, if properly maintained, and Utilities does a great job maintaining their equipment, to last for 20 years, but the warranty period will be over after 5 years.
Thanks, Ben. I think I lost internet there for a second. So I am back now, though.
Don, any other questions?
Just one. Is there a performance bond by these manufacturers that you're putting out to bid that they've got to be able to back their product if something happens?
The general contractor will have a performance bond. So the utilities will not actually have a direct contract with the manufacturer of the equipment. They will have a contract with a general contractor. The general contractor, that contract will have both a performance and a payment bond.
Very good.
So, yeah.
Thank you.
President, board members, any questions? Comments? Welling Clark, El Paso County. I just wanted to make a comment. The thoroughness of the project brought forward here, I wish to compliment CSU on. In the past couple of waste projects we've had, the applications were halfway filled out and lacked information and weren't fully clear. This is a very pleasant, I'm not going to say surprise, but I don't have a better word for it. But I want to thank CSU for this, and I hope from what we've seen at PPACG that this now sets the bar of what we'll see in the future, because this mitigates a lot of issues. What I did read in there, and this gets back to the contracts, reliability and things like that, is that there were statements in there that this type of change will actually improve some of the reliability, because some of the existing parts of the old system were receiving increased flows over them or something of that nature. This mitigates it. So that's what that implied to me. It was the same capacity, and I believe the cited or the stated what's that you give it, your warranties on it are industry standard, from my understanding. And with the reliability, the same capacity and all that was great. The main thing I would say from a citizen standpoint is we just want to be aware of how is that going to affect the surrounding community, the citizens. And it looks like it's just you're still doing the same process with there. You're just changing the methodology. of how you get the air and the water for it to percolate up, so to speak. Is that a correct statement?
Yes, everything you have just said is correct, and I do appreciate the thoroughness of review and the questions from everyone here. Kind of, echoing yours. I'm glad we were seen as a very thorough submittal, and I appreciate the questions and engagement in return. So, yeah, it's if you didn't know it was going to happen, you wouldn't even know that the change was made. So
that's good. The last thing the
that's our
citizens
goal.
want is increased odor.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, downwind. But I just want to say that, and I want that in the PPACG minutes, that the CSU project as submitted was extremely thorough, more so than any project I'd seen in my last year here or my previous 3 years in the mid-20 teens when I was on the CAC. And I, as an individual, appreciate that very much. If there are any other comments or questions or things of that nature from members of this committee? If not, okay, I'll close it and I'll call for the vote. All in favor of recommending approval of this project, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Those not recommending approval, say nay. Abstentions? Passes unanimously. CSU, well done on the project presentation.
Thank you. And with your permission, we'll log off unless you have anything else for us.
No, sir, unless you want to stay on and hear what else goes on later on.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Thank you.
At this point in time, we'll be discussing action item B, which is Unified Planning Work Program by Danelle and presented by Danelle Miller.
Yes, thank you very much. The folks who have been here a while may remember we brought this to you a couple of months ago in draft form. So within PPACG, we have a transportation planning group. We focus primarily on the Colorado Springs urbanized area, and we have funding through a consolidated planning grant from the federal government through the Federal Highways Administration and the Federal Transit Administration. This UPWP, the Unified Planning Work Program, primarily shows how we're going to spend that money for the next 2 years. And it also, contains a list of transportation-related planning programs that are going on, or planning projects that are going on in the next 2 years as well. We're required by federal regulations to update this every 2 years, and then we generally update it in between. So we did release this for public comment. It was available to the public for 30 days. We didn't receive any public comments, which is not really unusual with this kind of a document. It's kind of technical and really related to what staff is going to do. The only changes since this was last brought to the CAC are some really minor numbers shifts with the internal budget. I'm happy to look at those if you'd like. Happy to answer any questions. But what we're looking for today is a recommendation to the board to adopt this UPWP.
At this point in time, before we can conduct discussion, I would welcome a motion to approve and a second to approve. Or would entertain a motion to approve.
Kathy Heisey Callahan, move approval.
Do I have a second?
Roy
Tony
Rosenthal,
Sultana.
Manitou Springs.
Second.
I think you won that one, did. Okay.
It's a race.
No, thank you all. Okay, at this point, discussion. Anybody have questions, discussions, raise your hand. That way we can also see online if, yeah, hit the, okay. I see Chris Crockett with a hand up.
There we
Chris,
go.
you're on mute.
Sorry, I was trying to unmute there. Yes, Danelle, I just had a quick question. I'm a little confused about the public comment portion. As I understand it, that what you're seeking is that we accept the UPWP, But in the summary, it also says you're seeking a recommendation from the CAC to the Board of Directors to release the UPWP for public comment. Are we sending this out again for public comment, even though we didn't receive any public comment the last time? Or am I just missing something about what we're trying to do here?
No, that line in the summary should have been removed.
Thank you.
Others? Questions, comments? Okay. Go right ahead.
Maddie Gullickson, City of Colorado Springs. I just was wondering if you could explore a little bit more of the internal budgeting items that you mentioned, please. Thank you.
Absolutely. So it's under, let's see, our actual tables are on, it's page 14 of the document. It's page 53 of the packet. And that shows this budget summary. Our numbers of our CPG changed just slightly from the previous draft. And then on pages, it's 2 pages after that. So page 55 of the packet, and actually really page 56 of the packet. We made some small adjustments to how we're spending some of our direct expense money. Specifically, we added a little bit of funding for furniture due to some staffing changes. We reduced some money in our, I believe it was our traveling for out of state and in state, since we haven't really been using that quite as much so we offset that extra cost for furniture.
Okay. Other questions, comments? Okay, hearing none at this time. I'll call for the vote. All those in favor of approving, let me get this title here correctly. The 2024-25 Unified Planning Work Program, say aye. Aye. Nays? Abstains? Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to item 6, information items, update on CAC vacancies and at-large seats. Danelle Miller.
Yes, we do have a few CAC vacancies that we've been looking to fill. So we've had an application period that's been open. We actually opened it, let's see, in July, and we only received 2 applications at that point. So the nomination subcommittee felt it was important to keep that open another month to try to get some additional folks to apply. Right now, we have 13 applicants as of 12:30 this afternoon, which is great. That application window closes tomorrow, and then the nomination subcommittee will meet next Friday, the 8th of September. And at that point, we'll discuss the applications as well as figure out how we want to proceed, if there's interviews that the committee would like to do, et cetera. And then eventually we will bring those selections back to the CAC for approval, and then they'll go up to the board for approval.
And for clarification, they will come back at the next meeting, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, questions for Danielle or comments or anything? I have one comment. I don't think the PPACG has ever had this many candidates apply in one time. Is that a correct statement?
I don't know the history, but I'm very excited about having this many applicants.
No, it's good to have interested citizens.
It is.
And I do not recall anything like that. I don't know if others have been on board. Miley?
Yeah, I was on the nominating committee, I don't know, 4 years ago or something like that. And I think we had maybe 6. I don't ever recall having that many. So that's really great news.
I'm just curious what you did to drive that many applicants to come through.
I think we relied fairly heavily on folks in this room and them reaching out to their networks. We did post it, of course, online on our website, on our social media. We put an ad in the paper. But I think it's quite a bit of folks reaching out to others that they know.
That's awesome.
Basically, some folks have contacts with neighborhood organizations, other ones have business communities, clubs, things of that nature to maximize input. And that's our goal. And one thing I want to say with regards to this for the vacancies, I'm very pleased to see Colorado Springs here because for the last year, they were 3 positions and they were all empty. And I personally talked to a couple of council members a couple of times, and I know other people did too. So we're glad to have you all on board. Any other comments or questions for Danelle about the candidates? Okay, thank you. Pardon? Oh, Danielle, would you cite who's on the nominating committee?
Certainly can. The nomination committee at this point is Wellen Clark, Kathy Heisey, and Miley Foster.
Yeah, Miley can't get out of it. Okay, moving on to item number 7, member entity announcements. This is where members of this CAC have special announcements they would like to bring forward for public knowledge to get the word out. If anybody has a comment of an organization that you represent or something of that nature you'd like to get out, the word out, raise your hand and tell us what's going on.
And if nobody does, PPACG has a small request of the CAC.
Go ahead, please.
So we have brought this before to CAC. We have a public survey out to support our long-range transportation plan. We have, as of this morning, I think around 750 responses so far, but still looking for more, of course. Our window for the survey ends the 7th of September, just after Labor Day. So happy to send that back out to anybody who's interested, but thank you also for distributing that to your networks.
If I may, I would ask PPACG to send an email with the link to the survey to all members of the CAC for maximum distribution.
Certainly can. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else, folks, on that?
This is Ann in Green
Go
Mountain.
ahead, Ann.
I might just say thank you for working so hard through the MPO and so forth to get our Ute Pass 24 highway back in better condition up in Green Mountain Falls and Woodland Park. It's a lot of work and they have to do it at night, so it's really weird, but everyone's working hard. Thank you.
Anybody else comments? I would like to say something on behalf of when you're on the CAC right now and 3 years, about 10 years ago. I just want to compliment the PPACG staff, the openness and transparency I have seen, and the willingness to work with people and help answer difficult questions and solve issues. From 10 years ago to now, I will say this, I think there's been a tremendous improvement, and I just wanted to make that compliment there. And if you wish to state that before the board, I will not be able to attend the board meeting, but I do honor that, because if I did not believe it, I would not say it. But I want to say thank you all. It is appreciated. Anybody else? No, I'm deadly serious about this. You saw me upset last month. Okay. No, I'm calm today, and I really appreciate good people. And here's one thing I'll say to the CAC members. We always hear about when something goes wrong, right? We always get in trouble. We rarely hear about when something goes right. If you want people to keep doing good things, tell them what they're doing good so they can keep doing it. Help identify them in those two processes, because we always get hit with the stick, but rarely do we ever seem to give the carrot out in that aspect. And that's a good leadership trait. Okay. Any other comments? Moving on, meeting schedule.
Is a meeting schedule in your packet. I think the only thing missing from here is the nomination subcommittee. which is of course also an open public meeting. If anybody's interested in that, we'll post the agenda. And that will be next Friday.
Mhm.
That's online.
It is online only, yes.
Okay. Any questions? Comments? And we always meet the end of every Wednesday of the month, 3 to 5. Question, what? Three to 5 is the time period. It may be shorter, I hope. Okay. And this was a very light agenda. It went long because we wanted to introduce, welcome our new members, kind of go slowly to get the feel of it and everything like that. Okay. And I want to say thank you. It is appreciated you're here. And if you also talk to city council, tell them we're glad you're here too. They'll probably say, did I chew anybody's ear off? The answer is no. Damn, I did. Okay. No, but anything else? PPACG, would you have any comments for us also? Nope. Okay, at this point in time, if there's nothing else, I'll go ahead and adjourn the meeting. Thank you all very much.